Pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Coles Brown. Our guest menu looks like this for January the 18th. One special guest scheduled in hour number 2, Jalen Woods. He's a quarterback at Southern University. He's scheduled to join us in hour number 2. What's trending? What's trending? Simply on the show. The Southern University men's basketball team is off to a hot start in conference play, undefeated, and the huge one, the Bayou Classic on the court today, both in women's and men action. Southern University hosts its neighbor from North Louisiana, Grambling State University. Southern University Athletic Department releases their 2025 home football schedule. We'll look at it, a very attractive schedule, and I will simply say a very tough schedule as well. But it's one game at a time, win 1 week at a time, and hopefully improvement each and every week will be enough to satisfy the Jaguar Nation. The NCAA Division I men's basketball Oversight Committee approves a series of proposals. And hopefully we'll have Coach Pettaway to join us to lead that conversation and discussion. Those are the topics that are trending. Now let's bring in the panel for this week, January the 18th. And believe it or not, folks, something's happening Tuesday in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the first time in 7 years. The white stuff called snow. Guys, I don't know how to handle that, Coach Pettaway. As I straighten my hat, I'm going to be peeping out of the curtains looking. I'm going to be scared to death. Snow in Baton Rouge, or if you want to call it snow, sleet, and ice. And driving, that's a deadly combination in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But when it's all said and done, we will make it through this inclement weather. Good morning, Charles. Good afternoon to Willa Brown, a guy who's used to snow in Baltimore, and Coach Pettaway, who I'm sure is used to more snow in Huntsville than in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How is everyone today?
All right.
I'm doing fine. Doing fine.
Well, after I got that off my chest about this snow, topic trending number 1, Southern men's basketball team is off to a hot start, and I got a chance to see them this season for the first time against FAMU, and it was just a thorough whipping. I could use some other adjectives, but I want to be respectful because FAMU, under their first year coach, 91-57, and here's what just stood out to me. What about Coach Pettaway? What about a minute past in the game? Coach Johnson didn't like what he was seeing. Calls a timeout. He puts the second unit in, and they go off on a tremendous run. So, men's basketball team is deep. They go 10 deep. And that second unit brought a lot of energy. And, Coach Pettaway, I talked to Coach Johnson maybe a week and a half ago. He told me to tell you he took your advice and to develop a deep team. and that's what I saw, Coach Pettaway. I mean, and then Monday night they followed it up with another double-digit win against, in my opinion, a quality Bethune-Cookman basketball team. So I said all that to say this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach Pettaway.
No. I'm saying I've had an opportunity to see the team a couple times a year. Southern by far looks like the strongest team on the men's side. They're playing well, and he is deep. And a lot of times we as coaches, when we know what we have, we'll make moves like that. We're trying to send a message to those starters. Hey, you got to be ready to play when you hit the floor. So my hat's off to Coach Johnson. He's doing a tremendous job, and Jag Nation ought to be happy. They ought to be happy because I think you all have a pretty good team down there.
Yeah, well, not to be the bearer of bad news, but, some one Southern alum says he's kind of tempering his, excitement because he brought up the last couple of years that Southern started well, but then in February, you kind of had that slide. So I understood his point, but just what I saw last Saturday and, saw a couple of times on television, but in person, Will, it doesn't do it justice. Rebounding better. And when he came on a couple of times last year, he said rebounding we had to get better with. And we have to get better with our free throw shooting. And we have to learn how to what, Charles? Finish.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Carlos, so much for the curse of the guarantee game.
Yep.
wait a minute, Weller.
Help put it to rest, Carlos. Help put it to rest.
No, Will, I can't do that. I can't do it. And yeah, Southern had a victory over Louisiana Tech and Tulsa. Good victories. And by the way, I saw on one of the basketball platforms, they're projecting, and it's so early still. Can I say that it's still so early? Projecting Southern to be a 15 seed. And I guess they're saying that because if they go on and win the conference and win the tournament, I guess though Coach Pettaway, that Tulsa and Louisiana Tech victory will help.
Yep.
But Will, I don't want to get into that controversy again talking about it, but they did have some tremendous defeats playing some of that guarantee schedule, so that guarantee game. So hopefully Southern University will continue to improve. And this Grambling State basketball team, if you go back last year, Southern twice had double-digit leads and couldn't finish and lost. So I think this is going to be the biggest crowd of the year. Alums are coming back. All sororities will be dancing around the court, before and doing in between games. And I'm going to be sitting in my usual spot behind the visitors' basket and watching and cussing and all that good stuff. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. Let's see if Southern can play from the beginning to the end, and it doesn't have to come to a situation where Grambling State could come back. They're going to be fired up. And by the way, people have told me Grambling State men, disappointing season so far. Yep, Texas Southern women, undefeated.
Yep.
Although, can I say this? Southern had a lead on them in the women's side, and Texas Southern came back. Well, with that being said, they're starting in the chat room already. Southern men and Texas Southern women. You would agree, panel?
Yeah, look, I'm impressed with what Southern has done so far. Very impressed. Good start. But as we know, it's an 18-game marathon. Mm-hmm. And Grambling right now is, people are kind of counting Grambling out right now at this point, but they are the defending tournament champs. And so if you want to keep them at bay, you need to win today, because that's all it takes is one to get them going. But Southern right now is playing about as well as anyone. Jackson State, I think Jackson State on the men's side, Mo Williams. I mean, hey, people were to throw Mo Williams to the wolves, gets a new contract, and bam, I mean, they were one of a handful of winless teams going into the conference, along with Alcorn. But here, Jackson State is, right up there. They got a tough one today at Prairie View, and then they come here on Monday. So, look, Southern, Jackson, kind of the blue bloods of SWAC basketball near the top. But you got some other teams hungry. I think you can't count out Bethune. You can't count out Texas Southern. Every game, and I've talked with Landon Bussey and Nate Kilbert about this on the women's side, every game you got to come ready to play. Because if you don't, you're going to get knocked off.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll start to clear up. It'll start to clear up around the end of the month, around the first week of February. The pretenders and the contenders will kind of separate themselves a little bit more as you get into, the beginning of February. So, It's all good. It gives us something to talk about right now, that sort of thing. But, as Charles just stated, there's still a lot of basketball left to play. And, those that have the momentum right now want to try to hold on to it. Those that don't have the momentum yet, trying to get a hold of it. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah, it's still early, Carlos, but I think what's happening now, some of the teams are establishing themselves. In other words, their trends, how they're going to play. Charles, I don't know about you, but when I saw Alabama State and that Knox kid, I was very impressed with him. I don't know how well he played against you all, but, man, against Jackson State, I was real impressed with the way he got up and down the floor, and then I'm going to see him again in a few hours here at Alabama A&M. But Knox is an impressive player. Then also Deshaun that's at Jackson State, the new kid. Yes, man, he's the real deal now. I really like that kid. So early on in the SWAC here, I'm seeing some great players. The SWAC has always had great players, good guard play, and I'm seeing that again. So I think this is just a filling out period right now that everybody is licking their wounds from that pre-conference schedule. They're glad to be in the conference play. And, man, we're seeing some great basketball, especially on the women's side. I'm impressed with Don here at Alabama A&M. I'm impressed with what Texas Southern is doing out there. And then I think some of the Blue Bloods will still be in there. Southern's still going to be in there. Carlos Fuentes going to get those ladies ready. They'll be ready to play when it's all said and done. And then if you have to look at the disappointment side, I will have to throw Prairie View in there. I'm a little disappointed at where they are right now. But other than that, I think we're in for a big race on both the men and women's side. I think the key thing on the women's side, Jackson State dominated for the last 4 or 5 years. We don't have a team like that right now. I don't see one like that right now. I just see there's more parity on the women's side. On the men's side, to me, it's the same old. Because, Charles, you won't say it, but they better be watching all corn now. I think Coach Bussey's going – I think Coach Bussey, with his defensive philosophy, when it's all said and done, he's going to be in that top 3 or 4 now. They're going to slowly climb up, and he's doing it on defense. I went back and watched the A&M game, the pressure that they applied to them. Man, he's doing it on the right way, and that's through the defensive side of the ball. And I think they're going to be in the mix at the end.
Well, I hope you said the top 4. I hope they be in that 4th or 3rd spot. That's where I'm hoping, because, I have much respect for Coach Buss and Alcorn State. And again, we've said it, it's still early, but I'd rather be trending well and playing well than to be coming from behind and then have to catch up, because that takes a lot of energy. But it's a long conference season. But before you know it, we'll be looking at March.
Yeah.
And then we'll be looking at seeding in the regular season. Let me do this, because last week I went back and I don't look at the show a lot of times, but I do go back into the chat room and look at the comments. And I just got to say publicly, last week I talked about the cupboard wasn't bare with Jackson State women. And you great people in the chat room, mainly the Jackson State people, in a very nice and professional way of saying, no, Carlos, think about that. You got to take another look at that. Coach Reed and all of the coaches, which I had forgotten, they left and they lost a lot of players. So, chat room, you were right. Jackson State, the cupboard wasn't as full as I stated. And then, Coach Pettaway and Will and Charles, that's one thing about me. I give my opinions, but when I make a mistake, I come back and correct it. So, guys, I just wanted to say that while I just popped in my mind that you were right about Jackson State women basketball. Now, with that being said, their new coach is experienced, and I think she has them playing well until this past Thursday. They went into that Texas two-step, the first beginning of it, and they got brought back, I guess, down to reality to say the least. I see you, Coach Pettaway, smiling and shaking your head.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Coach Richards took him out there to Texas Southern. But see, I think everybody slept on Texas Southern. And you're right.
Mm-hmm.
When I interviewed Coach Richards, when I found out, Carlos, that she had a completely new team. She had to bring in all new players that hit the ground running. So the players that left with Coach Reed, and then the other players got in the portal. That portal's wrecking a lot of programs. So she had to start from scratch. So yes, she is to be commended for what she did, what she has done so far. But that first road test, I think a lot of the women's teams now are going to take notice of Texas Southern because they are playing well. And Charles, when I watched that game, she's got depth at Texas Southern because she uses that bench and she wears people down. She plays inside and out, and I just think it's great. And then Carlos, for you to come back and correct yourself about something that was said, I think that's great. And I hope before I get off here today, well, let me just say this too. I think they're still having Wi-Fi issues here at Alabama A&M. So I'm wondering how this game is going to come off today. But if something were to happen, it's because of the Wi-Fi. I did come up here early so that I could stay on, as long as I could. But Carlos, you brought up something that was from the past. If we get a chance later on, I know you got a script. I want to go back to put my 2 cents in about celebrity hires in football. Because I think one of the people that was on your show, I think they misinterpret what he said, and I want to correct that because I listen and I talk, and I'm one of the people that had something to say about celebrity hires in football. So only if we have a chance.
Well, and it got it was a lot of emotional talk last week. Even a few of the Southern supporters said, Carlos, stop hating on the celebrity hire. Now, I think we all know, if you watch the show a lot, kind of how we feel about that situation. You know how Wheeler feels about it. You know how I feel about it. You know how Charles and to Coach Pettaway. And speaking of that, man, my phone was blowing up. Coach Vick, $400,000 plus some incentives. And at North Carolina A&T, making a good penny. But with Michael Vick, what does the panel thought about it, and what in the chat room? How you feel about that?
Okay, now Carlos, I'm like this. When it comes to the man's purse or pockets, I'm not getting into that. My whole thing was about whether or not a coach, those ex-NFL players should come in and move straight into the HBCU head coaching role. I have my own opinion about that, but I also want to correct something. There are some people that mistook what Coach Graves said, and I'm not going to stand for that now. Coach Graves never talked against the celebrity hire. He only mentioned the fact that he was on course for guys who paid their dues, and I'm the same way. I think when you go out as an assistant coach, this is the way I look at HBCUs. If kids are good enough to come to your school and play, they should be good enough to be given some of these jobs that come about. Now, the kids that go to the PWIs, evidently they didn't think your school was good enough for them to play there, right? So why should they be number one on your list for a coaching candidate? Promote your own. Let's take care of our own people that paid their dues. Those assistant coaches out there who have come up through the ranks, I think they should be given an opportunity at head coaching jobs. Because Carlos, I'm living proof of that. I came up through the ranks. The president that I had at that time, do you know who he was talking about? Well, we need somebody like John. These were big names back then. We need John Thompson or Chaney to come in here. We need coaches like that. I said, hold up, Mr. President. Let me just say this. Before we knew who they were, somebody gave them an opportunity. And that's all I'm asking you all to do. This is my school. Give me an opportunity to coach this team. I said, I don't care if it's only on an interim basis. And that's what they did, Carlos. So all I'm saying is don't attack Coach Graves and what he misconstrue what Coach Graves said, because Coach Graves was not against a celebrity hire. He was just telling us he believes in coaches paying their dues. That's all that man said. And I think that needs to be corrected. And I think that's part of the thing that I said. I believe in coaches coming up through the ranks, whether it's football or basketball. I don't care what sport it is. If a kid chooses to come to your institution and they come there and they play, I think we should look at some of those people who have come up through the ranks when these opportunities come about. And that's all I've said. And I think that's all Coach Graves was saying.
And I'm sorry, Coach Pettaway. I just don't believe that anybody could have misinterpreted what Coach Graves was saying.
Well, I promise you they did.
I can't see it. I can't see it.
I promise you.
If you sat there and you listened truly to what the man said, you know, there was not, contrary to myself, you know, there was not one word of hate in terms of celebrity hires that came out of his mouth. Right. Yeah, he was pro HBCU all the way, like you said. You know, they tell us to promote our best and brightest. They tell us to do the best we can while we're at our HBCUs, and at the end of the rainbow, when it's all said and done, you know, you are the guys that's going to be able to pick up the mantle and carry us and move us further. Right. And those were his words, you know, pretty much verbatim. Right. You know, but I mean, bottom line being, you know, the bottom line. But you call me a hater, I'm okay with that. I ain't got no problem with that. I stand where I stand. But for you to list job requirements for a particular position, and then you pay above and beyond for somebody who does not meet any of those requirements, then to me, that's absurd. Call it what you want to call it. That's absurd. You know, for me to pay $400,000 a year to somebody with no head coaching experience, no coaching experience at all whatsoever, okay, I just hope that somewhere, somehow, there's dollars available for them to put into that program that need to be put in that program that's going to help facilitate and get it ultimately where it needs to be. That's it.
Charles, you have a smirk on your face.
No.
Well, we can get it out. Get it out open.
No, I mean, we all know what it should be like, but unfortunately, that's not the climate that we're in right now. I would love to sit here and say that what it should be, and we can start with politics and go all the way down the line to coaching, athletic directors. We know what it should be like, but unfortunately, it's not that way. And now you can add another layer to it. What did Shady McCoy say the other day? He would love to be the head coach at Howard University. And Howard University has a coach in place. I mean, come on. I mean, where did that come from? I mean, now you're talking about you want to take a man's job or somebody's job, and then someone is already in that job. I mean, we're moving the goalposts even further and further off the cliff and into the ocean. And so this is where we are. I think Mike Vick making $400,000. I agree with that 100%. Just my own personal feeling on it is that they probably feel like they can make that.
I think it's Wi-Fi.
So is that his Wi-Fi?
I think so. Charles, it's interesting when you said you had. I think you were saying because of his name. Boy, that's a lot of power in that name. 400.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead. Continue, Charles. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. It probably I might have to switch something here, but yeah, I mean, just Mike Vick, a Virginia guy, I mean, just on the name alone, just if you just look at and it's just my guess, I don't know. I'm on the other side of the tracks, so I don't know what's going on at Norfolk. You know, I don't follow the MEAC like I should, and I probably should. But if you just look at the amount of social media play, the amount of clicks, the amount of traffic that Norfolk State has got since Mike Vick has been on board, they've already got a big time sponsor from what I read. They feel like they can make that money back and then some. I saw our good friend Keisha Kelly put a post out there that says, what do you think that first home game's going to be like? And so when you look at homecoming, when you look at the games they have at home, they have a pretty nice sized stadium. If they win a few games with Mike Vick's name behind it, they made their money back and then some. As unfair and unfortunate as it may be, and coaches not being given opportunities, and that's absolutely correct. It's unfortunate that that's the climate that we're in right now. You know, there's pressure on ADs, there's pressure on presidents when it comes to athletics to bring in more money, more revenue, however way it looks, whether you get a big name or not, whether it's Deion, whether it's Eddie George, whether it's Mike Vick, whether it's Deshaun Jackson. We hadn't talked about Delaware State either. How much you think, you know, Deshaun Jackson's going to get over there at Delaware State? That hasn't been released yet. He may get a similar kind of deal. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I just think this is just the climate we're in, and I think it's not going anywhere. Now, openings have been filled. You know, in the SWAC, there's only one opening left, and that's at Mississippi Valley. But, you know, and I sent this text out to you guys. Let's just say hypothetically for Valley, if Jerry Rice, the Hall of Famer, called the president of Valley today and said, Mr. President, I want to come home. I want to give it a shot to be the coach at Mississippi Valley. What do you think the president of Valley would say? Would he take that call, and would he offer Jerry Rice?
He would probably tell him to do it. Yes.
And there are coaches out there. There are coaches out there who
he played at Valley.
Well, I'm just saying, but still, I mean, you talk about coaching experience. You know, he's SWAC, he's Valley, the stadium, you know, Rice Totten Stadium. I mean, he would probably contribute some money to it. I think if that happens, hypothetically, I think Jerry Rice would be the head coach at Mississippi Valley today. And
so
it's just,
they go.
Again,
Charles, they go from I think I saw the numbers, a $4 million budget to a $5.5 million budget, and it still lasts in the SWAC.
Yeah.
And nothing changes.
Yeah.
You know, they still got 36 scholarships. Okay, nothing changes. You know, they sell out Rice Totem Stadium or whatever the name of the stadium is. Okay, but nothing changes. They're still going to play 11 guaranteed men's basketball games come basketball season. Ain't nothing going to change. You know, it is what it is until there's a complete makeover from the top down. Need to stop. They need, all these schools need to stop trying to use football as the cash cow, because we all know that at the end of the day, damn near all of them in the red.
Yeah.
We're not gonna kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
no matter how well they do, football will have problems if it's standalone, just paying for football.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of our programs are being subsidized by the same dollars that's used to pay for the deans, the janitors, faculty, and staff. And so it's a flash in the pan approach to me. By hiring Mike Vick, by hiring Deshaun Jackson, it's a flash in the pan. And so you want to get that burst. And look, this year is going to be about Mike Vick. I mean, if you talk about HBCU football 2025, the biggest storylines, you know, Jackson State had their parade last night. It should be a big storyline. But going into 2025, the biggest storylines are going to be Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson. Those are the two big storylines in HBCU football. Somewhere down the road, if you name go 4 or 5, it'll be Jackson State. Can they repeat? Can Southern University repeat as division, as Western Division? You got new coaches in the SWAC, or what are they going to do? What's Tremaine Jackson going to do? What's Sam Shade going to do? That's somewhere down the list. But you talk about HBCU football right now, what's the two biggest storylines right now? Mike Vick, Deshaun Jackson.
And unfortunately, storyline don't pay the bill.
Oh, I get it. And I guess for us, you know, we're just talking about in terms of just the media aspect and what we talk about. And so that's what we're talking about. This year, it's about the name. Mike Vick, Deshaun Jackson. It's about the name. Going forward at those places, it's going to be about the game. How many games they going to win? Because at some point, people are going to ask, is the product better in terms of on the field product instead of going from 3 wins, 4 wins, or 2 wins, whatever they won? If they get it to 500, can they do it at Delaware? At some point, it's going to not be about the name. It's going to be about the game. And so that's where I'm anxious to see. Can they improve the product on the field? Whether they write a check or two to help improve the product, the process, whatever the case. If you're still 3-8, you're still 3-8, and then people are going to start complaining about that down the road. So that's my thing. But we're in the here and now, and the here and now it is about those names. And so we'll see what that translates into, as we go forward. We're 6 months away from MEAC and SWAC football media day. It's 6 months probably from today. I don't know the exact dates, but we're around that point. So that's what's going to be talked about. It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. It's sad. It's frustrating. It makes you angry. I'm disappointed in it. But I also look at where we are right now, and this is where we are right now. Now, what it will look like in a year or two, who knows? But we're in the here and now, and this is the here and now what we're looking at. You got a guy that just said, I want to be the head coach at Howard, and Howard's got a head coach who's been fairly successful. What does that say? Where are we? And that's more frustrating to me. You're trying to take a person's job who already has a job and has been successful. Someone could say, I want Charles Edmond's job to be the voice of the Alcorn Braves. Someone could say, I want to take somebody else's job who's already an athletic director. I mean, that's what frustrates me. You got people in these positions and you're saying, I want to be the head coach. I want to be in your job, even though you're in it and you're successful. I don't care. I want it.
Well, I'm not frustrated because I question if it's a trend or it because you're naming people that are only getting opportunities because of their namesake. Now, 3-8. One of the Norfolk State only wins 2 games. It shouldn't matter. I'm being facetious because now the climate it's because of the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in a dangerous territory if that's the way it's trending. I won't make a long speech. You know how I feel about it. Opportunities for the people coaches that have paid the price. And I'm glad I go to a university, or I went to a university. I'm an alum that says we don't have to do that. We don't have to go that route. And I want to see what y'all think about this. In a way, Coach Sanders, no doubt about it, had success, right? Although he didn't win the post games, right? He didn't win not a one, correct?
Celebration Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, didn't win the Celebration Bowl. And even at the institution where he's at now, they lost in a bowl game. But that may not matter to some. But it's just for the record. Mm-hmm. 0-3. What happens if they're successful and then they're just going to move on? Again, are we in that phase now where our HBCUs are just a stepping stone? Oh, yeah, well, they win. And you bring up Coach Sanders and Coach Eddie George, right? He had some success. He had to work to get there. But then what happens after they're gone? Did these programs have success before then? Oh, and I have to say this as well. Going back and looking at the comments in the chat room. There was a period where Jackson State did not do well. But there was also a time before then that they did well. It's not like they didn't have any history and legacy. I think we all go through these spots where you have down years.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to admit that, but that is the truth.
Absolutely.
So, but I guess my point should have been they had a legacy, and they will continue to be an outstanding football program. And yes, TC Taylor should get all of the glory. what he's done.
Right.
And that's just how I feel. Some people may disagree. Look, opportunities, if you want to give those type coaches opportunities, so be it. But I think, Charles, most of the universities, how many we can count that have done that? And I'll say this, it seems to me after the Jackson State of hiring Sanders, it just seems like everybody's trying to use that blueprint, and it doesn't fit for everybody. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
that's the truth.
I'm done with that part. But, you know, I wish Coach Vic and Coach Jackson much success. But guess what? Time will tell. We come back and revisit this conversation. And Wheeler, if he's putting 10-game seasons, winning seasons, and he's doing it 3 and 4 years before he leaves, then I'll say, hey, they did well. But if he don't, I'm not going to sit back and say, well, I told you so. But you got to win, baby. Who said that? You got to win.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We definitely see what happens.
But they say he's already got one win because of this top quarterback has decided to come there because of him.
Mm-hmm.
So on the recruiting side, he'll pick up a few athletes. But Carlos, I apologize to you for bringing that up. But I was last week, and then I saw already some of the people were attacking Coach Graves, and I just had to speak up for him. That's all. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I'm just giving my opinion. I'm just not a big fan of it. But if it works for you, it works for them. It's okay. What if Sam Shea wins the Alabama A&M and UAB calls? Should he not leave?
He will.
If he feels that it's a great opportunity for him, I mean, he's going to do what's best for him and his family. You know, nobody's saying, come to an HBCU and quote unquote necessarily stay for life. If there's a situation out there that's more conducive for you and your family, making dollars you never even thought were possible, that's going to put your family situation in a whole nother stratosphere, then by all means, definitely take a look at it. But at the same time, make sure that you're leaving the place that you're leaving in a better space than it was when you got there. Yep. Make sure there are plans in place for that continued success after you leave. Make sure that you're grooming people, that sort of thing, that you're doing right by your assistant coaches and, things of that nature to get them ready to take that next step and, everything else that goes along with that. Just make sure that the plans are in place in terms of things moving forward. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can use Willie Simmons, guys, as an example. He was an OC at Alcorn. Ashley Robinson brought him to PVU, was successful. Landed at FAMU, was successful. Running backs coach at Duke, wasn't there but a year, was running backs coach at Duke, and now you see where he is right now. I mean, so is that an example of someone kind of working their way up the ladder?
Yes.
Most definitely.
Right.
I can't say nothing about Willie Simmons.
Not at all.
But it'd be like Carlos Brown has no experience. He has experience in podcasting. And then I had the opportunity. I can put my name in the hat for AD at Alcorn. I have no experience. None. And then I get hired. What I would say, thanks for the opportunity, but I'm not qualified to do it. Anyway, let's just wrap this up because I grow tired now of this conversation. With those universities, look, you can hire who the heck you want to. At the end of the day, but I will always be for the guy who has paid the price, has come up through the ranks, and just want the key word is opportunity. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Coach Pettaway?
Yep. No. You're right. You're right, Carlos. I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. You're good.
On that note, we got to get back to some basketball. I'm feeling pretty good. With Southern University men and women's basketball team. But as I stated, if you're just tuning in, they're a deep basketball team, and they appear to seem to know how to finish. But in the conference, they've been, Purview, that was tough. And, I got to come back and reset my feelings. You like that reset? About always, some would say, complain about starting off with the Texas two-step. Now that you went in and took both games,
got it out the way.
You got it out the way. There you go, Coach Pettaway. You got it out the way. So let the record state it. I will not complain about playing Texas Southern and Prairie View in the beginning for at least another year. I won't complain about it. But it is still plenty of basketball left. It's still early. And I could not think of a better situation. Of course, I would be happy for a win at about 6:30 this evening in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But one part of me wants a thorough beating of Grambling State. I would be most happy with that scenario as much as a 1-point victory, Wheeler. So when we come back, we'll get more into this basketball situation. In the chat room, who is your surprise team so far? Who is your most disappointing team so far on both women's and the men's side? We'll take a quick timeout. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Morehouse College and Tuskegee University men's basketball teams were selected to compete in the 2025 NBA HBCU Classic presented by AT&T. The fourth annual NBA HBCU Classic will be played in the Bay Area as part of NBA All-Star 2025 and will once again celebrate the rich traditions, on-court athleticism, and commitment to excellence of the HBCU community. For tickets, visit nba.com/all-star.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. On the women's side, last Saturday, Southern University over FAMU 77-61. Coach Pettaway, I did notice that Southern was bothered by FAMU's press, and I think, film will be available. Other teams will do that, particularly the school where Charles broadcasts Alcorn State. I'm sure they, among others, that is something Southern will have to work on. But they shot on the women's side. They 46% from the field, from behind the arc, 37%, and free throws they shot 20 and made 15 for 75%. And then the next game, which was that Monday night, no, that was last Saturday against Bethune-Cookman. That previous Thursday, 73-56 over Bethune-Cookman. On the men's side for Southern, of course, 91-57 over FAMU last Saturday. And Monday night, Southern University over Bethune-Cookman, 69-53. I must say, Coach Pettaway, I was not surprised that Southern won, but by the margin, 39-23 at half, 16-point lead, and then both teams scored 30 points in the second half. But a 16-point victory, that was impressive against another team that gave Southern the blues last year.
Right. I think Bethune-Cookman is one of the dark horse teams this year because Coach Steers, he could get players in there, and they have proven. I think playing in postseason play helped him in the recruiting aspect. And so for Southern to get that win, that's a big win for Coach Johnson and for Jag Nation. So if you all could just stay away from injuries, I think you're going to see a different team. Now, you all were talking about them falling down the stretch. Southern didn't fall as bad as the teams in the past down the stretch. Now, Coach Johnson still had them playing toward the end of the year. And then I'm going to tell you this now, Carlos, I don't know another coach that could have given up 20-some points out of their lineup and still pull off the job that he did last year. When they had to dismiss that kid, man, I'm going to tell you something. That wrecks a lot of teams, man, because you depended. See, Carlos, if you go into a season and you're dependent on a person, that's one thing. But if you never have that kid, you can make the adjustment easier. But once that kid's been on the floor with you, you got that team chemistry, and then you lose them, it's tough to rebound from that. But you all did. Coach Johnson galvanized that team, and that team came back together and finished strong down the stretch. So I just think if you can stay away from injuries, he's got another team that is deeper, and he's got multiple pieces that he can use. And, man, his style of coaching, man, I love it, man. He's aggressive on the defensive end of the floor. If you allow him to, he's going to run. When it's not there, he's got enough offense to where he's shooting the basketball. I think that, getting the shot off is a lost art now because everybody wants to run 5 out. They want to do dribble handoff. Man, I ain't thinking about that. I want to shoot the basketball. I want that basketball in the air. That's the only way I can win games. And to see some of these coaches fall for that, and I think that's hurting them in the long run because they got kids out there trying to do dribble handoffs who can't dribble. See, in the past, you didn't expose a kid's weakness. You let your opponent come up with that. You don't do it as a head coach. You don't expose your own kids. You hide that kind of stuff. So in the past, you were able to hide that. And I think the coaches who are doing that now, they're the ones that are successful.
And it's interesting because, I said earlier, he told me to tell you he took your advice.
Right.
Demasi.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. We were sitting there, and I kind of knew I didn't want to give out a whole lot of information, but I guess it's the worst kept secret. He's injured. He's got back issues, and that team kind of centered around him. Then another starter, I believe, is out for a good while, maybe the season. He was a 6'8" freshman kid last year. So that's 2 for this year. But in spite of that, I like where they are. They're a much deeper team. And I'm telling you, that second unit brought in the energy right away. So I like the spot where they're in. No, do you crown them champions right now, Wheeler? No, it's still early. But again, I'd rather be in the position where I'm at now. In the true sense of looking, time will tell. what happens down the line. You just got to take it one game at a time. But getting off to a good start, because I was worried with that Texas two-step. You know, Prairie View and Texas Southern. At Prairie View, boy, 84-80. I was shocked at that score because of the points that were scored.
Right, but see, when you look at Prairie View, he's got three players that are in the top 10, 11 in scoring in the SWAC. So Prairie View's putting up the numbers, man. They got Coach Smith. He's got some players in there now. They're scoring the basketball, so that's to be expected of them. But here's the thing: you all have gotten through that hurdle. The other teams got to go there. The other teams got to take that Texas two-step, and so you all are ahead of the game. Now it's protecting home court. You just don't let anybody come in there and beat you all on your home court. So see, he's almost halfway to the journey. He's almost halfway there.
Well, you know, Alabama A&M, Alabama State. I know last year they ended up playing Bethune and FAMU twice. So without having the schedule in front of me, somebody in the chat room let me know. I don't know if they've got to return the trip to Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. I know they did last year. They played them twice. I believe Alcorn comes to the FG Clark Activity Center. So that will be interesting. You know, I like having that. I like having that game in the win column against Alcorn. You know why? So it'll be interesting. Prairie View, could we say watch out for them on the men's side?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Most disappointing.
Because anytime you can score the basketball, and I'm talking about, I think he's got a kid, one at 17, right there, both of them right at 17 points a game. Carlos, that's a lot to defend, man. He's got 4 kids right there in double digits. That's hard to defend because that means that you can't just go on one person or 2 people. You got plenty of people. You got plenty of people that you can count on. So that's why I think it's they're one of the teams that they're gonna have to watch out for.
And you know, Wheeler, traditionally Texas Southern gets strong, and you know we know what they can do in the tournament. And then the disappointing team, and I guess can we say it so far?
Okay.
Grambling State men. I mean, they're the defending. You know, well, put it this way. You know what the coach has done there.
Yeah.
And now I think everybody's after them, and I don't think nobody's going to feel sorry.
No, nobody feeling sorry for him, Carlos. That's for sure.
I know I wouldn't, man.
Woke up that bullseye, haven't earned it, and you know, if you're a player, if you're a coach, that's what you want. That's where you want to be. Put the bullseye on me. You know, let's go. Line it up. Let's go. So I think they'll get around to being a semblance of maybe what they were last year, but you know, you got to put last year in the past. That's ancient history now. You know how we roll. What have you done lately?
So with that being said, Coach Pettaway, 2:30. Let's get a quick prediction in. 2:30. The women start the game off. Who do you like in that game? Because you know I think Grambling State probably feels that they should be a little bit better than where they are. So you're shaking your head, Southern?
No. I got Coach Funches in the game. Playing at home, it's a rival game. So the Grambling women are not on top of their game right now. So Southern should be able to take that. I'm pulling for Coach Funches. I think Southern will win the game.
Willer?
Southern hold serve at home.
Yep.
I mean, this is what you live for. You win them at home and go 500 on the road, and you're in the upper third of the conference at the end of the day. Formula simple.
I'm gonna come back later in the show and ask you about that big game tomorrow, Baltimore and Buffalo. I'll come back there because
look,
you're a hardliner.
Hey, but Carlos, since all of us not gonna be here at the end, can we do it real quick? I'm Baltimore all the way, okay?
I'm pulling for Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not going to be here at the end.
Yeah. I understand. Charles, prediction on the women's side, Grambling State and Southern University, and then we get the quick men update prediction.
Yeah, that game is in Baton Rouge. I'm going with Southern University.
Yep.
All right. On the men's side, this should be a good one. Look, I know Grambling's got off to a tough start, but I think it's going to be hot and heavy in the FG Clark Activity Center. Willa, who you got?
Out the window, the rivalry time. You got to go with the home squad. At least I do anyway. I think the home team turns it up a notch, and I think they bring it on in.
Yep. And for me, I'm going with Southern again. I think Coach Johnson. I think I've seen Grambling 3 or 4 times this year. I got Coach Johnson in this game at home.
Well, you know, Grambling's gonna feel confident because of last year. Look how somebody's shaking their head on the screen. We won't say what name it is.
That's exactly my point. Right now, Grambling's got Southern's number. You pointed it out earlier, Carlos. 2 double-digit leads. Now, last year, but that does play with your head a little bit. And so I think Grambling's gonna find a way to get off the schneid. I think Grambling's gonna win this game. I got Grambling winning it.
Okay, well, you know, if it doesn't go that way, expect a mass quantity of text messages, and you can read them once because I know you're gonna be broadcasting. But I think it's gonna be a barn burner now. But you know, hey, I'll take a 1-point victory. But boy, I'll have to light up the glass of, you know what? if it's 15, 16-point victory. Because if anybody deserves to give them a spank, and the thing is, they were winning at halftime both games. So it's a matter of just finishing. But guess what? I hope it doesn't come to that point. I hope it's over after halftime.
I'll say it on the radio, Carlos. I have 0 problems with owning it and wearing it. I'm going with Grambling in this one. I think Grambling might be.
I think it's Wi-Fi.
Who?
Charles,
no, he's
still
good.
There?
Yeah, Charles is down here.
Oh, I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, no, I was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think Grambling's in Southern's head a little bit. I'm going with Grambling in this one. Grambling struggled. There's no question about that. But I think this is the get off the deck game for the Grambling Tigers. I got Grambling.
All righty. Well, that's the prediction for Southern Grambling State. Top of the hour, we have a special guest on standby, and he's a young man that, you know, I'm going to ask him about the season last year. He's Jaylen Woods, quarterback for Southern University. You saw him in the Bayou Classic lead Southern to that victory. You saw him a couple of games before then in spot duty, and then came on. Now, going into the 2025 season, is it a fair question to ask? He possibly could be in the number 1 position going into the spring, but I'm sure he's going to say, I haven't earned anything yet. I have to earn it. But he's our special guest coming up next, Jalen Woods. Coach Pettaway, you'll be able to hang in to 12:30, or you have to leave now?
No. I am going to have to go, man, but I really enjoyed this. But we got –
Who's that beautiful lady there that just gave you a kiss on the jaw?
See, I'm occupying their space right now, man. They have this room reserved. So they moving me around today, and with this Wi-Fi being as poor it is, I'm going to have to cut it. But I'll be back next week, ready to go, full and strong, okay?
All right. And tap Mo Card on the shoulder and say, Southern University proud. We love it.
Right. Oh,
take care of
I love your boy, man. I love Mo, man. We've had a great year so far, and we're gonna close this year out with a big bang. Of course, SWAC Digital Network has this game today, so we can't be homers. But if we were to predict this game, I can't because I'm calling it. But we doing good, okay?
Okay.
I guess.
She
go
said
Bulldogs.
It for me.
Yeah.
She said it for me.
Go Bulldogs.
Okay, now she said it, not me, all right?
Yeah. I guess I would break all the protocols with me, but no. We'll see you next week, Coach.
All right. Hey, thank you, guys. Have a great week.
All right. Let's let's do this. We can either take a timeout or we can bring in Jalen Woods right now. Since he's been holding, let's just bring him in. Jalen Woods, quarterback for Southern University. And I think Coach Pettaway may have forgot to cut off his mic, his camera, did he? Well, let's take a timeout then. Let's see. I predict Southern women's basketball team to win. Thanks a lot, Chuck. Let's see. Can we bring up Jalen Woods? There we go.
How y'all doing?
How you doing, Jalen? Enjoying your time off between semesters, or are you working hard?
Oh no, I'm working hard. I'm actually on a church retreat right now, so forgive me if there's bad reception. I'm out here in Louisiana.
Well, we appreciate the time coming on the show. We had a lot of people was wondering what happened to Jalen after the Bayou Classic and the SWAC championship game. But before we kind of get into that, the 2024 season, is it something to say about persevering and always being ready when your number is called to come out and lead the football team?
Right. I mean, as far as the 2024 season goes, I would say that we were picked to finish fourth in the SWAC West, and I think that we won the SWAC outright. We won all 5 games against our SWAC West opponents. That really shows what we are able to accomplish as a team. And as far as quarterback play goes, I've always been a team player. So whoever coach felt was going to put us in the position to win, then I wouldn't argue with them or anything like that. I'll just stay back and, just take mental reps. And then I knew when my name would be called, I was going to be ready.
And so how was that? I know they just don't tell you, the day of, but, days ahead about you're going to get your start. You talked about mentally getting those reps. But when you got the news, how excited were you, or were you just still even keel about the whole situation?
I mean, I would say I was more so even keel, because at the end of the day, there's still a job that needs to be done. Yeah, it's cool to be playing, but at the end of the day, we had a SWAC West division to claim. We had the Bayou Classic to win. We had a SWAC championship to win. There's still a lot more to go in our season. So yeah, I can thank God, but at the end of the day, there's still work to be done.
Yeah, and still the excitement of the Bayou Classic. I know you saw it on television before, but to actually be there at the game and then getting the start, pretty good accounting of yourself.
All right, that's something I'm definitely able to remember for the rest of my life.
Now, before then, there was another game. I do believe it was at Bethune-Cookman. That game, 5 overtimes. Once again, it's a situation where, as a team, they persevered and won in 5 overtimes. How about that feeling and just that game itself?
Me personally, I've never been a part of a 5 overtime game, so that's definitely. I feel like us coming out on top of that game really let me know the type of team that we have. We have a team that's not going to give up. We have a team that's not going to quit, especially when we're down. And so I think us picking up momentum in the second half, us scoring, and then us coming out on top really set the tone for how the rest of the season was going to go as far as how we're going to approach these games.
And, and I'm thinking about Jalen, when I interviewed you the last time, you had signed to come to Southern University, and it was very interesting. We got a lot of feedback on that interview. We've had discussions on the show, and a lot of people talk about it. Dual threat quarterbacks, quarterbacks that can stay in the pocket and make every throw. Could you reiterate your style, like you did 2 years ago when I had you on, about your style of play as a quarterback?
Okay.
Your strengths and weaknesses.
I would say my style. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. You good.
My style, I feel like I can make every single throw in the field. And as far as running wise goes, I feel as if that when I need to run, I will. But As far as my game goes, I love throwing the ball, and I know that in the off season, one of the things I need to work on is running the ball, and not like there's a lot of. I told the team before this, like 2-3 days ago, that this offseason we need to work on our flaws. Yeah, we all know that we wouldn't be here for no reason. We know we can play football, but we all have flaws that come with our game. So for me, that's quicker decision making and running the ball and read option and stuff like that. So that's something that I feel like I can definitely work on my game. But as far as me as a player, I mean, I'm a pocket passer, I'm a quarterback. I can run the ball when I need to.
Charles, interesting. You have a question or two?
Yeah, for Jaylen, congratulations on the year that you had, winning the Western Division, and of course, playing for the SWAC championship. What is it going to take for you, for Southern University, obviously, to get over that next hump, which is getting to Atlanta? What do you see in this team, and what's the next step? What's the difference in getting to Atlanta? The next steps you got to take in 2025.
I would say the steps right now, as far as January goes, is to definitely work on our flaws, like I said, and building up chemistry with the receivers, and ultimately being on the same page as Coach Gump. I really think it involves a lot of sacrifices that I'm going to have to make this spring, as far as how I manage my time, what I do with it, as far as getting the job done, because this is something I'm very serious about. So I feel like it's not just going to take me being serious about it, it's going to take the whole team being serious about it as well, because we know we can get there. We make the SWAC championship. We know that we have the talent to get there. It's about having the discipline to get there as well. And we don't start getting disciplined in the summer or fall camp. We start getting disciplined right now when it comes to lifts, when it comes to conditioning. And so I really think it takes me as a leader and a couple other guys to really push this team forward and to actually, set that end goal, which is starting the season off in Atlanta and finishing the season off in Atlanta.
Jaylen, I've heard that those words before, with former players, and the seriousness of it, starting there and getting there. You talked about it starts now in the off season. I know physically you want to improve, but I'm kind of curious about the mental aspect. What have you been doing since the season has ended?
Mental wise, I've been obviously meeting with Coach Fred and Coach Totten, and just, we're going to be going over all the film from last year, what every single, all of our, we know what we did right. We know what we did correct, but everything that we did wrong and how we can improve. And we know that those improvements aren't going to happen overnight. They start right now, just meeting 2-3 times a week and just getting the offense together. Because at the end of the day, I'm a quarterback, and the quarterbacks lead the offense. I have to know the offense 100%, not 99%, not 98%. It has to be 100%, because how am I going to be a leader when I can't answer a question when my players ask me? So I think it really just takes us mentally meeting with the coach, and I want to, how do I put this? I want him to, not in a weird way, just be a part of my mind. I want to know what play he's going to call next before he even calls it from the sideline, I want to know, his mind. I want to be him out there on the field.
That's very interesting. We're visiting with Jaylen Woods, quarterback at Southern University. Jaylen, if I'm not mistaken, what's going to be your classification? Is it going to be redshirt sophomore or
I'm going to be a redshirt sophomore next year.
Okay.
This season coming up.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was the answer. As far as the schedule, and we're going to discuss that in a few minutes, the 2025 home schedule has been put out by Southern University Athletic Department. Traditional teams that you played on the road, now you get them at home, so a very attractive schedule. But one surprise that I saw was the Pete Richardson Classic, and it was Alabama State, who that team defensively is pretty good. Your kind of your thoughts if you've seen the home schedule. Do you have thoughts about it, or you don't have any thoughts about it? It's just about getting prepared for the upcoming season.
Yeah, I definitely taking a look at the home schedule to see who we have, and not definitely Alabama State, because we played them my freshman year at Alabama State, and yeah, they're a good, well coached team. I know the quarterback over there, him and I had the same quarterback trainer. I know that it's a coached program, so I know that we're gonna have to be on our A game playing them, especially when we're at home and defending our stadium. So as far as Alabama State goes, and once we go there, we'll focus on them. But right now, I want to be focusing on us as a team individually and what we need to work on, not the other team. We'll get to them. Trust me. We will get to Alabama State when we play Alabama State. But as far as right now, we are focusing on ourselves and not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Well, I think we've asked all of about getting prepared for the season, strengths and weaknesses. I think you covered all of that. Once again, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Like the last time we had John, we had just an outstanding response, and we appreciate you coming on. And hey, spring season's coming up, semester's about to start. We wish you the best success, not only you personally, but the football team as well. And we appreciate the time.
Of course. I appreciate you for having me out here.
All right.
Go Jags.
Go Jags. Thank you, Jaylen. That was Jaylen Woods, quarterback for Southern University. And, once again, you look at the competition. Southern University is going to bring in a couple more quarterbacks. But, Wheeler, once again, I'm impressed with him. And he didn't talk about his strengths, per se. It was all about how trying to get better, from the middle. Go ahead, Wheeler.
It's time for him to take that next step in the progression, in the scheme of things. And it's time for him to take this team and really, truly make it his team, quote unquote. And, he's pretty much like the last man standing, with those other guys haven't hit the transfer portal or what have you. And, I believe he understands that there's going to be some new bodies in the quarterback room, that sort of thing. And, but he's got a leg up on the process. He is truly the last man standing right now. And, he needs to take advantage of each and every opportunity that he's going to get right now to cement his place in terms of the hierarchy as it pertains to that position at Southern University. And just seems like, just from the way he talks, that sort of thing, he understands the magnitude behind what it is he's getting ready to undertake. And, I'm rooting for him, no doubt.
And Charles, he talked about it, and I asked him about his style because, we've had discussions. Again, this doesn't matter what you like. Dual threat is the quote unquote the trend right now, but I like what he said. He said, I can make all the throws. Oh, that's my goal. And when need be, my athleticism, I can get us in a certain spot. I can help us out. But that was an interesting answer. I just wanted to see if he was going to say the same thing he said when he signed with Southern University, and pretty much to the T he said it.
Yeah, I like his answers, very composed. I see the word poised, and that's I would agree with that. And Carlos, the quarterback, I was going to ask him about this, but the quarterback room is going to definitely be different. Owen's gone. You talk about T-set, and so that quarterback room is looking different. And I think he's got the leg up on the job right now. I mean, you're 8 months away from your first game, but clearly Woods was the one that was impressive. He was impressive to me when I saw him when we went down there for homecoming. So that quarterback room is going to be going to be stacked and it's going to be reset. But I think he's got the leg up on that position, and it's just a matter of what he can do to take the leadership role in that room, because there's some different bodies in there for sure.
Yeah. News came out yesterday about Jamari Jones. Used to be the number one quarterback, JUCO. And I definitely remember him from Mississippi Valley State. So he committed to Southern University. But, hey, call me a homer. I just believe in I put it this way. I'm pulling for Jaylen Woods to lead this team.
Did Hagen's name, the kid from UAPB that transferred out, he took a visit to Southern. What I didn't get any more information on that. Is he a part of that rotation or no? Or that's just something
You're talking about the quarterback from the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff?
Yeah, Hagen's. I
know he got an offer, and I saw on social media he had all of these FBS teams lined up. I think it was the week you were not on, but if I'm not mistaken, guess where he landed at? Oh, he committed to Lamar.
Lamar, okay.
Yeah. Now I hope I'm not confusing the receiver and the quarterback. But help me out in the chat room. I want to say the quarterback is at Lamar.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you have Woods, if you got Hagen's, because Hagen's was really impressive. Another flash in the pan situation, but you saw the potential in him. If you landed Hagen's to go a little bit of experience to go with Woods, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch to me if that happened. And so I'm like, if Southern gets Hagen's, look out. But clearly that it seems like that didn't happen. So they'll have to reset the quarterback room, and I'm sure Coach Totten and that offensive staff will figure it out.
Yeah. Kind of looking at some of the conversation in the chat room. Joseph Davis said, very poised young man. Yep, I get that. And you notice when I asked the question, he was thinking kind of before he answered. So, Will, he's like you, a thinking man. Cedric Walker, and I believe Cedric is a JSU guy. V, I love. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Fine young man. I see greatness in him, and I absolutely love that he was on a Bible retreat. That will keep him grounded. Any thoughts on the transfer quarterback from Mississippi Valley State University? Well, I think he's a dual threat quarterback to me. And hopefully I won't be considered a hater. But the dual threat quarterbacks, to me, my definition, Will, is the one guy who can make all the throws and can use his legs, his athletic ability. My thoughts on him, I didn't see enough talented, but I think raw, R-A-D, raw talent. Somebody may have, Charles, you may have a different perspective on it.
Yeah,
I just have an issue with these kids bouncing around the conference. When you commit to a conference school, that's to me, that's sacred. That's your school. That's what you're about. That's what you should be defined by, that sort of thing. When you bounce from Southern to Grambling, from Grambling to Prairie View, and all that sort of thing and stuff, to me, it kind of takes a little salt out of the water. That's just me. I'm an old school guy, so I
don't know. Tell us how you feel, Will.
It is what it is.
Valley's looking for a coach, so maybe that was probably in play there. In terms of that, they haven't had a coach in 2 months now, and we'll hopefully they will get one. So that all that's, you talk about the transfer portal. I'm learning, guys, that it's a lot more to it than you think when you look at it on the surface. So and so transferred, is hitting the portal. Well, why did he hit the portal? What's going on? Is it because he wants to leave? But I'm also learning that sometimes the coach is ready to run that kid off too, because the coach is going in the portal.
That's true.
Someone better, and so he's trying to find a way to run him off in a very professional, in a very respectful way. So it's a two-pronged street on that one.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a good fit, and we've had coaches talk about it. Coach Graves, when you go in the portal, you got to do your homework. You it's got to be a good fit. And take this in the spirit that is given. Sometimes I was just looking at some of the commitments and I just won't mention any school or player, but everyone is so excited. You know, they're turning somersaults, and then you look at the kids' stats. This one particular kid made 4 tackles in 2 years that he's been there. So, and we get so excited. And I say we, you know, I don't like to say we sometimes, but I'm included in that. I'm included in that.
Yeah.
Hello, somebody.
Yeah.
And we get so excited. Then you have the JUCO players. Willa thinks that's funny. Yeah, the kid hasn't played a whole lot. And you know what? If he's played a whole lot, in most cases, he stays where he's at, right? And Charles said there are many reasons, you know. So just kind of put that in context in the spirit that is given.
Yeah.
But we get excited.
Yeah.
You know, I know we are people sometimes that we look the eye test. They got to pop out at us, jump out at us, and then you look, dig deep, throw 12 passes. So to me, that means he hasn't played that much, maybe in a mop-up duty. But I still believe, again, Will, I'm kind of old school too. You get a player in there, and you develop that player.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's not the end thing now to do. It's a quick fix, a quick gratification. And how dare you talk about me in a 2-year contract when I'm talking about developing a player and staying there 4 or 5 years.
It's not happening.
No, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Charles. Wait a minute. Cedric, if I was at you, I would run strictly RPO with him. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, Cedric. I would develop a plan for to what his strengths are. And he just told us that he can make every throw. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I guess I would have some select RPO plays in there. But if I know Coach Frederick, I think that's what he is. He's a dual threat type of guy.
Yeah.
So
well,
you
Carlos,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
You are correct on the whole recruiting thing. And look, signing day's coming up. You're going to be signing parties. We're going to have one. And you know, all the guys that we've signed, we signed a kid, a transfer from Howard that may be our starting quarterback. I mean, that's kind of the talk. And you're going to see film on him, and he's making all the throws. And to your point, you know, it's all the flash and all that is great when you see it on film. Any player that transferred in, and so now you just want to see. For me, I'm excited in the moment, but I want to see him on the field. I want to see him in the spring. I want to see him when they hit the weights in the summer. I want to see them when they're out there with the strength and conditioning coach out in the field in the summer when they're running plays when the coaches aren't there. I want to see all that. And then, of course, the culmination of it all is the fall. When you get them out there in the fall, it's 97 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning, heat index. That's what you're going to see that. So for me, it's great. And this is wonderful time for fans because some fans are not happy with the way the season went. They feel like changes need to be made. You need to upgrade certain positions. And you see this. You see it on film and like, okay, we got something here. Let's see what happens once they get here. They sign their name on the dotted line and get them out there. Let's see what happens at that point. I'm excited.
Everybody feeling good right now. Everybody feeling good right now. You know, on hopes and prayers and, you know, chocolate cake and all that sort of thing. So everybody feeling good right now. You know, but like Charles just said, you know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, and come back to me in August, you know, when it's 95 degrees out there and, you know, coach that hasn't called a practice, but you out there sweating and getting busy and getting after it anyway. You know, so, I mean, you know, that's when we see the true test of character for all these kids and all these classes. You know, so everybody putting the little stats out there right now. They all good. Everybody good. You know, everybody made 20 tackles in one game and, you know, threw 50 touchdown passes. And, you know, I'm a 4-star, 3.5 star, all that, all-star, all that kind of stuff. Everybody got those accolades behind their name, you know, but it's not until we get into August that we truly see what's what. How many kids actually show up at the end of the day? I mean, we never talk about who actually comes in a lot of these signing classes. We lose kids along the way. It ain't for everybody. So we clickbait right now. Trying to win the internet battle and all that sort of thing and stuff. At the end of the day, we got to put it on. We got to put the pads on. We got to button up the chin strap. And then we see what's what.
Well, see, what to your point, Wheeler, this early signing class, you get excited about it, but if you notice, a lot of schools aren't releasing that class because they could be flipped. And so we've seen shows in which players have been interviewed, but I've talked with our coach about, doing a show to talk about the early signing class. We're going to hold up until the first Wednesday of February to do that. But I want to talk about the early signing period, just, the kids that we signed. He wants to put the brakes on it because kids can be flipped at any time. And so, there have been shows in which last year, I didn't do one, but a show was done with one of the players that we signed early signing period. He never did make it to campus. So that's just one of the things you have to be careful of. And so, I mean, and Coach Thomas educated me on that. So these things can change. They're fluid right now. But once you get them on campus, they sign their name on the dotted line. Now it's the real deal. So that, like you said, Wheeler, it could change. And right now, I mean, classes have started. So I'm sure players are putting pen to paper on some stuff, and you'll probably see some names develop as we go through these next 2 or 3 weeks. But right now, I mean, but before now, it's been kind of a fluid situation. So you don't know, but you will know here in the next few weeks.
Well, and I used to put up, graphs of committed, but you notice I kind of stopped. And it's a well-known fact, and I got to be careful how I say this. There are certain institutions, we talked about recruiting is a tough business. It is tough, Wheeler. And the kids, for the most part, they put the information out there. You remember Coach Grace talked about it? We don't do it.
Yeah.
There are coaches, and I know in one particular school, maybe two, they're always looking. And if a kid announces that he's taking an official visit, you can be, and I'm not saying it's wrong, that's just the nature of the beast right now. They're looking. I know for one instance, a guy said on social media, I got an offer from a certain institution, and I'll be darned, within minutes, it was 2 in this conference that were on him. So, Coach Thomas, you're right. It's probably best not to say, and I know the fans, we eat this up and say, I said we eat this up because we're excited about the commitments, but until they sign on the dotted line, and Charles, you're right, there are examples of, I've had people on this show, and if you think about it, that came on. See, I'm being brutally honest on myself now. And they did an interview. And within a matter of weeks, they never showed up. They didn't sign with yours truly's institution. And I thought maybe I'm jinxing them because it was three occasions where I had student athletes, football players that committed and they didn't show up.
Yeah.
So nowadays, Carlos, I think I should have been a graphic artist or something, because these posters and things that these kids are putting out that I see everywhere. I mean, they're highlighting every move they make. I'm entering the draft now, or I'm going to the bathroom, y'all, with the big graphic there, that sort of thing and stuff. And, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's incredible. PR is the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go now, no doubt.
And you have to be really careful. I mean, because you extend yourself too far, and you think and you think you got him, and then you look up a week later, he's gone somewhere else. And now with this tampering, now with NIL, now with money being distributed, people want to get paid. So you might have an offer. Yeah, I'm coming to you verbally, but then someone else makes a better offer, and bam, they're going somewhere else. So you have to be careful with this stuff now. And with the new NLI stuff, and with the new rules, things could change fluidly and quickly.
Well, at last count, 8,000 student athletes still in the portal. I was reading the other day that I think the FBS coaches have talked about maybe having a select time for the transfer portal.
One window
to open up. It's going to be, it's going to be interesting. Before we take our next time out, let's put up that 2025 home football schedule for Southern University, and there we have it: the Pete Richardson Classic, September the 6th, Alabama State. Could we put a check mark by a tough game? The 27th. Oh no, do I have to go on a tirade again, Willa? September 27th, Jackson State. I had Jackson State people reaching out to me. Man, I missed the day of that mid-October game when it's crisp and cool, and it's just so great. Now it's going to be another heat, a hot game, literally. But we shall see. September the 27th. Then Prairie View A&M homecoming. Here we go. You're gonna have people like, I'm offended that my school was chosen to be the homecoming opponent. Somebody has to be the homecoming opponent.
It ain't about the opponent, Carlos. It's about the date. Southern date is that around that time frame. So the SWAC master schedule's out. That's who falls on that date. That's the homecoming opponent.
That is what it is.
So
we need to get
I don't complain about it, but there are people feel offended that they have been chosen as the homecoming opponent.
Then we just woke up that day and just chose you. Out of all the people in the world, we decided to choose you for homecoming.
Well, the homecoming last year was just off the chain. It was a conference opponent, Alcorn. Who you rather see, Alcorn or Prairie View, or Virginia Lynchfield? Somebody like that.
Well, I will give Southern credit, and this is just my little bit of rant, and just I want to see all of us improve and do things better. This is good. We're going to release our schedule at our signing party. I've already got our schedule. And Jaguar fans, I'm giving you a heads up right now. Southern is coming to Alcorn in November. The schedule has changed. Okay. So Southern will be playing at Alcorn in November. It used to be September, a couple of years. Now it's been in October. It's going to be in November. So I'm just giving you a heads up for that. But I think before, it's just my own opinion, I think the first thing that our schools need to put out is the homecoming date. The opponent doesn't matter. Just, people are calling me and asking me, when is homecoming? I know when homecoming is, but I think our fans want to know when it is right now, because they want to book their flights. They want to book hotels before it goes up to $500 a night or $400 a night. Because I stayed in Pine Bluff, Arkansas last year when it was $400 a night for a half-a-star hotel. But that's on me. That's my fault.
That's your fault, Charles. And guess what?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't pay $400.
I mean, it was just, it was just a convenience thing. I had to justify that to my hardline administration as to why I'm paying that, and they signed off on it. But I think our fans need to know when the homecoming is for all of our schools, so they can start booking flights, hotels. Somebody called me the other day asking me about it, and so I think that needs to come out before anything else, because it gives your fans a chance to get heads up on decent hotel rates, decent flights, and all that other stuff. I think that needs to happen. So good that Southern is putting it out there in terms of when their homecoming is, October 18th, so they can start booking their accommodations accordingly and getting good rates. Because what's going to happen. You wait till the summer in Baton Rouge, those rooms are going to be gone, and you're going to be paying $300 a night, or you're going to be staying out there in New Orleans somewhere. So, you have to decide how you want to handle it. Make it easy on yourself or hard on yourself. But I'm glad Southern's putting the homecoming date out there.
Well, our producer extraordinaire could help some people out. entrepreneur with vacations and, traveling, engagements, activities. I just thought about that. And even if, like Baton Rouge, I think maybe they have 13 to 14, 15,000 hotel rooms in the city. Need more, because Charles, I'm like this. When I flew, and I know it's a little bit off topic. Well, let me just finish with the conference home schedule for Southern University.
Tough schedule, Carlos. Tough home schedule. Tough.
That's the way it should always be. I don't want people to there you go. Thank you, Miller. I can definitely help. Miller, the getaways. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But let me say this. When we had FAMU up there, that's in the success. Those beautiful colors of the orange and green, Will, you got to appreciate it. That's going to be a tough. But Charles, yeah, you can't duck anybody. Then, of course, Southern starts off North Carolina Central. Tough game. Then Fresno State. It is what it is. You're playing up.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Fresno.
Yeah, so, and guess what? They're not taking no chump change either. One thing you may not agree with AD Banks sometimes, but guess what? In the tradition of Southern, they just you talking about paying me $200,000 or $100,000? No, that's not gonna happen with Southern. Now I think I've got the particulars on the number. And of course you're traveling to California now.
Yeah.
And I'll double check about the band, but usually that's no question about if the band's coming or not. But anyway, to your point, Charles, it's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have it no other way. You just can't. You got FAMU, Jackson State, defending champion. FAMU's tough. Alabama State. It is what it is. The schedule's put in place in front of you, and you got to win the week. Can't duck anybody anymore. And I would love today. I've had another discussion about, winning the SWAC championship, HBCU championship. Those are goals right there. But also, I would love to see the day when we play some of our FCS brethren, not in the playoffs, Charles, but in the regular season, and give them a good whipping. That's the goal I would like to see. But, hey. Charles, I don't want to hear about, the Magic City is the only game that's important. No, they're all important. All games matter. That's right.
Well, Carlos, I predict 2 hard sellouts there.
Mm-hmm.
I predict the Jackson game is probably going to be, using your phrase, a hard sellout. I think that will probably be a hard sellout. And, hey, you got Prairie View, you got Coach Jackson there. First-year coach, that game could be very intriguing. And for homecoming, a division rival, homecoming, mid-season, that could be a sellout. So I would predict right now 2 sellouts there in Mumford. And FAMU, who knows down the road, FAMU could be maybe a third, depending on how the standings shake out.
Alabama State, that's a good quality opponent.
Yeah.
P. Richardson Classic, so... hey, and Coach Jackson, North Carolina Central, is playing Southern University in Atlanta. When I was in the Celebration Bowl that Friday, I was already scoping out hotels and the logistics of where they play that game at. And I saw all of that. So, hey, there's no ducking anybody. Tough schedule. Tough.
But it's good that you got the tough ones at home. That's where you want them.
Yeah.
You can't ask for no better than that.
Yeah.
Well,
Carlos, I'll say this, for Alcorn, you talk about tough home games. The last 4 games for Alcorn, Texas Southern on the road, Southern at home, Grambling at home, Jackson and Jackson. The last 4 games of the season. That's, you got Southern and Grambling back-to-back at home. That's tough. That's tough. But again, you would have it no other way. I mean, if we're going to get back on the horse, you want it to be tough. You want it to be difficult. You want it to be challenging, and that's what we got.
Yeah. So, Will, that 2025 football schedule. That's the home games release, but I'm sure they're going to very shortly release the whole schedule. And so, again, I understand you got to win those conference games. But I love, and this year for the second year, is that the first time that happened in a while? 2 back-to-back years where you have 12 games, FCS. Yeah. I can't think. Somebody help me out. But back-to-back. So we'll have to see how
and it's probably getting ready to become the norm. It's probably getting ready to become the norm because of this settlement thing with this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the NCAA trying to find ways for institutions to increase their revenues, that sort of thing. So I think that 12th game is getting ready to be the norm as opposed to every other year or every 5 years or leap year or whatever it is that it's on right now.
Well, Carlos, let me ask you a question now. That schedule, I think I texted you this earlier in the week. You got Texas Southern at home and Prairie View at home, right? Normally, you play one at home and one on the road. Was that because of that classic you all had in Arlington? How did that? You know how that? Normally, you would play one at home, one on the road.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Thank God it's not in Arlington anymore. That just and I have to talk to Chatterbox about that. It just seemed to be more Southern fans at that game. Now, I did have a friend who voiced his concern. I think that's what you're doing, Charles, about because he's in Houston, and Southern should be playing a game in Houston.
Yeah.
Every year for recruiting purposes, both academically and athletically. Yeah, that I don't know what to say about that one, Charles. Normally it's that way, but I guess with the master schedule out, with the SWAC conference games, I guess that's the way.
Could it be because of that classic is not in Arlington and it goes back? Maybe that's kind of so next year you're going to be going to Texas twice. Then if we're going to the normal process, you're going to Texas Southern and Prairie View next year. You can make it 2 trips to Houston.
So if that's the case, then the guy I just told you about, I don't know if that will make it up to him.
Unless they're getting ready to go to a new format. Aren't they getting ready to do away with East and West?
No, I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
But I know other conferences have gone, the top 2 teams, they get away from the divisions, and the top 2, they go for their championship game.
Or it might just be the end of this schedule run, and then they're going to start a whole new schedule start next year.
Yeah, we got 15 minutes left. We got to get back to some basketball. But Southern went to Alabama A&M last year, right? And you would think Alabama A&M would have a return game this year. I got to look into that. Any discussion on the Southern Heritage Classic? Charles, both teams have not been penciled in to play. Well, Jackson State, of course.
Yeah,
they're done with it. But more specifically, Tennessee State. What have you heard?
I haven't. That's a no-brainer to me.
But it said Tennessee State schedule had come out, and that wasn't on the schedule.
Yeah. To me, that game was a no-brainer. Jackson State, Tennessee State over the years. You got 2 schools equidistance from Memphis. I thought that game made sense in every sense of the word sense. But obviously, Coach Sanders and all that, they were looking at something different, and it kind of fell through the cracks as far as Jackson's concerned. I hope that game doesn't go away because I think from what I've been reading, it's big time in Memphis. Folks make money off of it. It's a good thing. But, I hope that game doesn't go away. I hope it doesn't fall by the wayside.
But they've been lowballing the schools for years. So, I mean, I guess it was just a matter of time before somebody just got tired of it, that sort of thing. And, the guarantee was nowhere near what it should have been.
Yeah.
For years. But for almost 30 years, somebody put up with it, that sort of thing. And, I got my wrist slapped when I mentioned it, when I was at Jackson State. So I mean, it's a higher power involved than just the athletic directors in terms of that entire picture. There's a bigger scheme involved throughout that. That's on a presidential level, that sort of thing. So, I mean, we can piss and moan and complain, but if they have access to higher ups, which they pretty much have been in terms of going directly to presidents and things of that nature, you get the memo from up top stating that you're going to play in the Southern Heritage Classic, make it happen. You go about the business of making it happen.
And tell you to close the door on your way out, huh?
That's it.
Yeah. Some of our fans would like to go up there. I mean, this was probably about a year ago. Some of our fans said, man, because they see that they kind of bouncing around. UAPB's been in it. And so they're like, man, some Alcorn fans have told me they would love to be a part in that game.
Call your AD and tell him to get on it.
Our schedule's already set for the next 2
it's pretty well run.
How about in the future?
It's pretty well run.
Yeah.
And, it flows pretty seamlessly, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just that at the end of the day, when you look at dollars and cents, it ain't making a whole lot of either.
Yeah.
And, you just want it to be done better by that particular aspect. That's all.
But let me ask you this: as a game like that, because it's a classic and that sort of thing, if it's a break-even deal for you, if you had to make the decision, if it's break-even, bring your band, bring your team, it's a break-even proposition. You're not coming out of hardly anything financially, but you're getting the pomp and circumstance of the game. Memphis and all the Beale Street and everything that comes with it.
I want to get paid, Charles.
I gotta bring something home. I gotta feel. I'm gonna say this naughtily. I gotta feel like I'm not being prostituted, that sort of thing. And especially when you guys are flaunting cash and all that sort of thing and stuff, you see that there's money being made here. It's only right that you want your fair share in terms of being a participant in that particular classic. And when I also gotta pay for the band and all that sort of thing and stuff, or I gotta ensure that the band is gonna be taken care of, which is gonna lessen the amount of money that I'm gonna bring home, that sort of thing. I just gotta, we gotta do better by that. I don't want to have to leave out of Memphis after the game's over. I'd like to stay the night at Memphis and have the team come back Sunday morning, as opposed to, packing right up after the game and, heading back to Jackson, that sort of thing. Just little things they can do in order to make that experience a lot more amenable, for the schools.
Yeah.
What is that? Pump and circumstance versus mean green pay me. I'm taking pay me. That's just me. I remember the great one, The Godfather. line of credit has to be established, and I've got to have something down. And then within 30 days or less, I gotta have that money. Reverend Ike said, the lack of money is the root of all evil. I know the good book says the opposite, the love of money. Well, I love to get paid, and I wouldn't want to have a negative coming back. Break even sometimes is a dirty word. I don't know. That's just me. 8 minutes left. Charles, basketball.
Yeah.
Big games today. We talked about Southern Grambling, but let me pull up the rest of the games for today. Well, I had it somewhere here, but anyway, big games today.
Prairie View's a big game across town here. Jackson and Prairie View's big. We'll see if Mo Williams can keep the momentum rolling. Texas Southern and Alcorn game here today at 5:00 is a big game. Alcorn and Texas Southern always brings a brutal. It's so physical. It's so passionate. Landon Bussey wants Texas Southern badly. He wants. I mean, it's just those are two big games for me. And then of course can Southern University keep it rolling? You know my prediction on the game, but Jaguars off to a nice start. We'll see if they can keep it going or if Grambling can get off the deck. So those are just some big games today on the men's side.
Yeah, Alabama State and Alabama A&M, SWAC Digital Network.
Don't sleep on Alabama State, Carlos, quickly. We just played them the other night. A good three-point shooting team. They're the best three-point shooting team in the league. They're really, really good. So don't sleep on the Hornets.
Yeah, Coach Johnson, in the conversation we had, he mentioned Alabama State. Of course, you said Jack State and Prairie View, Mississippi Valley State at Bethune-Cookman, Grambling State at Southern, 5 p.m., Alcorn State at Texas Southern, Arkansas Pine Bluff at FAMU. And then Monday, of course, Southern and Grambling, they're off, but Alcorn State at Prairie View, Mississippi Valley State at FAMU, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Bethune-Cookman, Jackson State at Texas Southern. I'm intrigued to see, can Alcorn and Jackson get through the Texas two-step? It's not easy. I'm going to tell you. So I'm not complaining anymore. Southern's done with it. Yeah. That is a tough play. 2 tough places to play in and win.
You know what makes it tough, Carlos, is the logistics. You got to travel out to Prairie View. You got to give yourself 3 or 4 hours for practice and coming back. You know, that's tough. Even though the Braves were staying in 2 hotels, Wheeler Brown for Texas, because they want to Prairie View and they want to stay close to Texas Southern, but some teams don't do that, and so that's what makes that Prairie View TSU swing tough. The Prairie View end of it. But they're really good teams too. And so if you can get one out of there, thumbs up. If you can get 2, terrific. You have gotten through that. So that's what Landon Bussey's trying to do. We can be in the conversation if we can win 2 and get to 4-1 before we come home. But a lot to be said. Texas Southern, you can't sleep on them. And it's a big
that a Saturday, Monday, or Saturday, Tuesday?
Saturday, Monday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Saturday,
and the women play on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
the women on the back end of this now, you know, we played Thursday night, and now our women play tonight, and then they're heading home tomorrow, trying to beat this weather. But you know, this Thursday, Saturday schedule, somebody asked me about it last night, and I don't know. It's a challenge. I will just say that. It's still early. There might be some bright spots in there, but it's a challenge. If I were to make a guess right now, I would say this is a one and done on this one. But it's way too early to tell. But right now, the reviews are very lukewarm at best on it. It's just different. And even though different can be good sometimes, it's just something that our folks are not used to right now.
Well, okay, Pat Riley, he's texting me. You know what? I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about Jimmy Butler and my Miami Heat team.
He's back.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like a cake. The icing looks sweet and nice, but the inside of that cake is not good. It's dry. And I predict he will be out of there. You know,
I think both sides need to shut up and just let
both sides are at fault. Both sides.
Pat Riley probably needs to shut up, and Jimmy Butler probably needs to shut up also. You hear till you ain't here no more, and then when you ain't here no more, see you when I see you. But until then, Jimmy Butler play ball, Pat Riley handle the front office or the front desk, and everybody just shut up and just enjoy the ride while we still riding, because we're not going to be riding for long, obviously.
I predict he'll be traded.
You cannot bring Jimmy Butler back off that suspension. Jimmy Butler should have been playing his last game for the Miami Heat. And that's just, I don't know contractually if since he's suspended and it's over with, you got to bring him back.
We had 18 last night, didn't he? He had 18 last night.
Yeah, but that's
and you lost by 20. And guess what? It says something about the teammates. Quietly kept. They may not want him back. He says it was business. It wasn't against a teammate. It's with management. Yeah. It's like a marriage that has gone bad. Both parties need to get away from each other.
Yeah.
I'll still be a Miami Heat fan, but I'm also pulling for OKC, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I'm impressed. And they tore their team down and they built it back by smart choices, Wheeler. Smart choices, and they drafted well. And look at them now.
Look at all the picks they got coming up in the next few years. Oklahoma State's going to be loaded over the next 3, 4, 5 years. Look out for them. They're going to be good for a long time.
Well, on that note, we talked about Southern University men's basketball off to a hot start. Also, the 2025 home schedule was released by the athletic department. And Coach Pettaway, we were going to talk about the Division I basketball committee. They had some things to go through the process, the committee that they're recommending. We'll pick that back up next week with Coach Pettaway. We got about a minute and a half. Appreciate everyone in the chat room. Hit the like, subscribe, notification button, not only for this show, the Coles Brown Show, but all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network. Because let me say this about the Black College Sports Network. They've been doing it for a while. And as I always state, no one could tell the story like we can. And we can only depend on ourselves. So make donations where you can. Advertise with the Black College Sports Network. You see the information there. On that note, I've got the entourage ready. I'm all set at home. So the minute this podcast is over with, I'm heading to the north side of Baton Rouge to the F.G. Clark Activity Center in Charles. I think it's just going to be a hype atmosphere. I want a win, but extra slice would be a win where you know who was in control from start to finish. That's what I want.
Won't happen. Won't happen.
I'll call you, buddy, when it's over with. I want to win. I want to win.
Go Rams. Go Rams. Go Rams. Go Ravens. Go Rams.
Go Ravens, baby. Go Ravens. Go Ravens.
On that note, next Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until that time, peace and God bless. And, of course, thanks to everyone in the chat room and our wonderful producer, Miss Melody.
Good job, Mel.